Can you hear me?
Yes, we started. Hello, welcome to Sprint 59 of YakShaver. This will be on the YouTube channel, but if you're watching this video, you're already there. So just watch the rest of it as well. Let's go to the email. So the sprint goal for last week was to get Stripe integration ready for the waitlist that we have from NDC. That's still in progress. There's still a bit of work to do.
Can you zoom in a little bit for me, man?
Sorry?
Zoom in for me?
Zoom in a bit more?
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's go 150.
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
So last week, Hajir, myself, and Stephen were on full-time, and we have Tom and Caleb part-time. And for the PBIs, I'll do it on the GitHub because it's a bit nicer to read. So Tom has implemented the test container. So this will help us with running tests a bit nicer for when we run the pipeline.
Sorry, those first two that are blocked.
Yes, so these
do we need to know about
yes. Ajay, do you want to talk about why they're blocked?
Yeah, I found a bug on the new extension that when you cancel, it ignores the recorded video and the cancel button on the bottom right. So I paused the publish so that we don't push a buggy one. There's a PBI for it, but as per conversation with Callum, we leave the extension for after pushing a Stripe and waitlist because that's the priority.
Okay, so if this is blocked, that just means that it's going to be done after the current epic. Okay.
I guess yes.
Yep. So we have test containers implemented. The next one from Tom was including a role for the user table. So before, everybody had the same power when they went onto the portal. They could edit stuff, add integration. But now we've added so that the first person that signs up has the admin role. And all other users will have like a basic user role with limited visibility. There's a PBI to have promotion demotion, but we've set that aside for until after the MVP is done.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, so Hajir, do you want to talk about this one? Talking with Wixie about Stripe?
Sure. So I discussed with Wixie. He wasn't happy with how Tina and Stripe was done, and he said he would try other providers as Stripe didn't work well for them. I did some investigation, and I went through implementing Stripe all from our backend. So in the beginning, I handled everything from our system, but then after a little bit of playing around, I found that Stripe suggests to use their customer portal, which they have everything, including cancel subscription, upgrading, downgrading, and they calculate everything there by themselves. So yeah, there was a little bit of R&D, and I found that we still can use a Stripe, and it works well with our system. But yeah, I had to do a lot of refactor to change how I started in the beginning and use the best practices recommended by Stripe.
Okay, nice. So was that conversation with Wixie helpful then?
Well, he said that he wasn't happy, and I couldn't get some code sample because he mentioned he wrote everything in Go language. And yeah, it was like totally a new concept, the Stripe for us. I was thinking we would implement it from the Next.js, like on the client side, but then we went to the backend. It was a complete new area, but yeah, I could get some information from him, of course. But eventually we went with Stripe again.
Okay. Yeah, Hajir also did an upgrade to the client portal, so now it's using Tailwind version 4. So that
yeah, I usually try to keep all of our front-end packages up to date. We are almost every 2 or 3 weeks I keep packages up to date, but our backend, the packages are a bit outdated. We need to work on that too.
Mhm. That's good to know. Yep. Next are some website PBIs. So Caleb, do you want to go through some of the changes that you made?
Yeah, so I added a search box to the oh, you've just opened the table of contents one. Yeah, that was a minor accessibility tweak. I just made it a black background because Adam pointed out in a sprint review that it was hard to read, and I added a little scroll bar there for when it's smaller than the viewport, because using the new design, it sometimes gets smaller than the viewport when you shrink the window, whereas before I just had a scroll bar on the side.
Mm-hmm. And this one.
Yeah, so that one was a long time coming, but I've hooked up I've added a search box on the docs page, and just like Tina.io is doing, I'm using Algolia for the search. So we get this nice, if you open up the PBI and look at the GIF, we get this nice, I guess you could look at the website too.
Yeah.
You get this nice highlighting, like try typing in video or something.
Nice.
Red text on a black background is not a good idea.
Okay.
Should be white.
Sure.
Do you want to write that down, Caleb?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. And I made some changes on the website as well. Tiago has made some improvement suggestions for the UX side, so I've just implemented those. So they're all on the website. So all the buttons are all consistent now, and there's a few changes with the pricing, the tool, which colors change. Like this is no longer the rainbowy color, the gradient, and just small changes to
move the slider. Let me see.
So because these two don't change, they're not.
Yep.
Colored.
I like it.
Yep.
Yep. That was Tiago's thing, right?
It's just fixing. Yep. It's just fixing those. Yeah, Hajir, do you want to go through this fix that you did with the mentioning feature? You're muted.
I got an email from Adam regarding the mention and assignee were not being correctly in a recording. So I created test cases using the exact same wording that Adam used and managed to get it fixed. And yeah, but there is a new request from Adam, which is related to attention to someone, attention to a user, which is not assigning. We try to fix our prompt to not mistakenly assign a user. So that attention to is not really clear, but I'm going to create a new PBI for that and fix that part too. But so far with what we have, this is working correctly.
Yeah, so basically this issue was when you mention more than 5 people, it would only cut the first 5 and then everybody else was just discarded. So now we're at up to 20 people, which
Nice.
Hopefully there's no PBI where you would need more than 20.
You're going on a mentioning spree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a few general bug fixes. So there was a bug where people were not able to move PBIs from one location to another, and that was really, we were getting a lot of reports from that one. So that was
Oh, thank God.
we
That's
changed
fixed.
it. Yeah, so that's fixed.
That was a pain, that one.
Yeah, we moved our temporary storage. It used to be in our own SharePoint as well, but when that got
deployed, by the
deleted,
way?
sorry,
When was that deployed? This one?
Wednesday.
Okay. Okay. I had an error this morning. I wondered if it was something similar. Okay.
I can have a look at that for you afterwards.
Thank you.
But we basically save the video temporarily in blob storage now because that's a cheaper option and it doesn't take up space in our SharePoint. And then we delete it after 2 weeks. So unless it's very rare that someone will be moving a video after 2 weeks, so that's why that was set.
Okay.
Jeffrey reported an issue where when he tried to make a shave, it wasn't working. And the reason was because the video file name had an emoji, which means it couldn't be saved to blob storage because blob storage required some ASCII only. So that has been fixed. And there's some investigation on the YakShaver health page because we were getting a large spike of errors. And that was because our old test tenant didn't have the correct licenses. So it didn't have Teams or Office 365, which means we couldn't get them to we couldn't create the subscriptions required, which threw a bunch of errors. So I fixed it so that if they don't have the required subscriptions, we don't even make if they don't have the right licenses, we don't create the subscriptions for them.
Cool.
Any comments or feedback for all the done PBIs this sprint?
Yes, there's one I was looking for there, which wasn't there.
Mhm.
I'm hoping it's nearly done. Whatever the documentation we had to give to the people to make the Teams app approved.
Yes, so that has been, I've given it to Rob, and Rob has submitted the documentation today. So it's now it's on Microsoft's end now.
Okay, you gave that to Rob 5 days ago. I know that because I spoke to Callum.
Yes,
Did he
I
sit on
did.
it for a bit?
I thought he sent it. And
Okay, what I would do when you know something's urgent like that, if the day after you send it, like if you emailed it to him, I would have said a 1-day follow-up, to go, hey Rob, how's it going? Are you stuck? Carry the
obviously
urgency that you help
Rob
with
doesn't
it into
necessarily
your
know how
delegation.
urgent it is, whereas we do.
Mm.
So it's our job to follow him up.
Yeah, follow-up then is your friend for that kind of stuff. That's how I do that because I can't keep that stuff in my head. I use follow-up then for all that.
that's
Cool.
that was it slipped out of my mind to make him
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want you to keep anything in your mind. I want you to use systems.
Okay. Right. Anything from you, Adam?
The only thing I didn't fully understand was the Stripe work. Callum, could you kind of explain what we're doing with Stripe and why we're doing Stripe when what we're trying to do is just get people on the version we don't need to charge them at the moment?
Yeah, so what we do need to do is obviously we can't just give everyone the same level of access as SSW, which is like full unrestricted access. We need to sort of give people a real YakShaver license, but we just give it to them free of charge for 3 or 6 months. So we sort of need to do the Stripe stuff in order to have the ability to have us define what the levels of licenses that are available, what the rate limits are associated with them, and to provision their license level based on whatever we give them for free. And we sort of need to do that first, because otherwise we would be sort of creating a fake Stripe subscription without Stripe and then trying to hook it back together later, which just seems like a bit of technical debt for no good reason.
Okay. And is Haji working on that by himself or with somebody?
Hajir and Stephen are working on that at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen, I just realized you didn't have any PBIs this sprint.
Oh, yeah. That's because I was working on the rate limit, and it got some technical issue. It caused some back and forth discussion, and we had to do a refactor in the middle.
Right. Okay.
So initially, Hajia and I wasn't working together, and one day we were discussing something. I realized Hajia and I were creating the same table on the database. So I migrated my code into Hajia's branch. And by that point, we will decide to deduct the credit at the beginning of the entire process. And then it causes some issue because we have a lot of branches causing some error message and some branches causing action that does not require the credit deduction, for example, moving PBI to another project or converting email to projects. That's going to lead some refunds, but we need lots of those refunds actions. So we decide to deduct the credit in the end of the pipeline. So I had to refine my code into the other way.
Right. Okay. So now you're working with Hajira on that, are you?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, so it looks like we dramatically underestimated a few of those PBIs there.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know.
Yep. Am I good to continue?
Have those remaining PBIs been re-estimated already?
They have.
No, these ones
Well,
are
not the ones in the email, but in GitHub they are, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Because that's in
re-estimated
review,
in
but it's unnamed. So hence my
Mhm.
confusion. Will it be changed in the email by the time it gets sent out?
Yeah, I can change it.
Thank you. Yeah. So just FYI, I often look at the email to see how much we overestimated by, and I take that by how much PBIs are left over and the effort left in those PBIs, and then that's how much we overestimated by. So I need those numbers to be re-estimated before the email sent.
Yep. Okay. Now that makes sense.
Thank you.
Next up is the code coverage. So the code coverage went up by 3.6%. So we are a third covered, a bit more than that. We made 5 production deployments last week. So a lot of changes. App health. There were 2 spikes in the failed requests, as you can see here. So one of these spikes actually affected the availability. This was when production was down for a little bit while the database wasn't in sync. So that so we fixed that one up quite quick. I think it was an hour or 2 fix. And this big spike here, which happened on the weekend, was a bunch of bots or crawlers trying to look for a vulnerability by poking like WordPress sites and stuff. So those ones are not too worrying for now. We have a PBI in the backlog to remove these ones, but based on what Tom has sent me, it seems like it'll be a bit more work than we think. So we're putting that on the back burner for now. The monthly usage, the leaderboard has stayed roughly the same, just Toby coming into the top 10.
Have we worked out why Young is showing up so high all the time?
I think it's just a bug. I don't know. I'm not 100%. Stephen, do you remember what? I think we talked about this one.
Yeah, but the issue wasn't clear yet. We haven't
Is it in the backlog?
investigated on this.
Is it in the backlog to figure out at some point?
No, it's not in the backlog because we were deciding to change a source of truth from the old table to a new table,
which should
the database. So that should fix this issue.
Okay.
But we haven't.
Is that in the backlog?
Yeah, that is in the backlog.
All right, cool.
Product roadmap. So we have 2 new epics. So this one, there's one called Stripe integration and release to waitlist. That is the MVP. So once all that is done, we should be able to roll it out for people on the waitlist to use YakShaver. And then the full Stripe integration.
So is that the one that you're thinking will be done by next week, Callum?
Yeah, the timeline has been extended by an additional week based on the fact that the PBIs we thought would be done by today took a bit longer. So we've added another week to that. So it's now week after next.
2 weeks. Okay, thank you.
And the full Stripe integration is anything on top of what we need to do, like any paid subscriptions or anything, because for the MVP, we're probably releasing it for free with like a promo code. And just a bit more progress on the client tenant setup, 2%. Backlog stats. So we had 4 new PBIs since last month, I think. And I'm still trying to decipher what this means.
Rolling 30-day period, there's been 4 additional PBIs in the previous rolling 30-day period. I'm not sure how useful that piece of information is. It doesn't seem that useful to me, but anyway, it's good to know, I suppose.
It's interesting that we've increased the backlog by 48 in that period. That's huge.
Something happened last month.
Yeah, I mean, but our backlog is getting out of control. I had to look at it this morning. It's 400.
Yes, it's almost 400.
Yeah.
How many people do we have on the wait list?
I think it was.
Can we add that to this email?
Sorry? Oh, we should add it to this email, how many people on the wait list?
So that after
Yeah.
NDC Oslo, we can see how much it increases by.
Yeah, because I have NDC Oslo this Wednesday.
I think 40
So-
people were added at the last NDC, and a few people have trickled in since then, maybe 5. So I guess we have about 45, but that's a guess. I did talk to Louis about this morning. He has the job form backend that has a CSV with all the people. So if you do want to count, you can get it from Louis.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me
So
to? I
just
can
add
add
it
this
to
before
do to do speak to Louis and just grab the number before you send it.
Yep. I'll add it after R&D, I guess.
Sure.
Anyone using what's it called? OpenAI Codex yet
Nope.
for their AI tools?
Okay. Unfortunately not. So any experimental work? So Stephen Hajir investigated credit limit implementation for users, and Hajir did an investigation on the Stripe payment gateway. Investigation here. Investigated. So AI tools. Rick has added Windsurf plus Gemini to his list, and I think Hajir has taken out Gemini 2.5.
Really?
Cursor.
Wow. Okay. I mean, they just massively improved the code quality of that with the IO update. It's not as good as Claude.
No, I found Cloud still better. It
Wow.
was good, but it hallucinates a lot. I think.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Interesting how different people have different experiences. Must be sort of a different way of using it on a personal level.
I love that
Yeah.
Tom's using Manus.
He's using a bunch of things. He's
Also, could you add that I'm using GPT 4.1, please?
Interesting. Wait, inside GitHub Copilot, like that's the model of choice for that, or separately?
Yeah, it just got rolled out automatically, so I'm using that now.
Oh,
You didn't even know you were using it.
Alright, and this in the retro, so one went well. So Callum said the backbone refinement meeting was valuable. We had that on Friday, and that's how we discussed priorities and what should go into into the epic.
The MVP.
For the MVP. And we also estimated less than a week remaining until we can release to the waitlist, assuming
You can
estimates are
update that to 2 because we
2
did the
weeks.
retro before the planning, so we now know it's
Yeah.
2.
2 weeks. Caleb mentioned that the website will be on Tailwind 4 soon, which will make front end work a bit easier. And
has Caleb already
comment-
started on that PBI? Because he was talking about it a little while ago.
Yeah, I've started on it this morning. I got
Okay.
put on client work, which put it back a bit.
Sure. Okay.
And Caleb commented that I managed to complete some PBIs on the website despite not having much experience of Tina or React. Thank you again, Caleb. What didn't go so well? Callum mentioned that we didn't get through as many of the large PBIs as we hoped. And the team's app approval was sitting with Rob for 5 days before submission.
Oh, you already covered
We
that,
should
right?
instead be following. Yeah, we should be following with that once a day.
Cool.
And that I'm a okay Scrum Master, pseudo Scrum
So it's
Master.
good pseudo Scrum Master, and you should get your Scrum certification.
Okay. Yeah, stretching. Yeah. I said that YakShaver was down for a few hours on Wednesday. And Stephen said underestimated some work items. The rate limit one got some tech issues and had a lot of back and forth discussions and refactoring required. What needs to improve? So Caleb and Callum had a
Sorry,
similar
back and forth.
Hmm?
Back and forth with who?
With Hajir.
Actually, the
Okay,
entire
okay.
team. I had discussion with Callum and Rick also. They all involved in the discussion.
And can we change it from some work items to the topic of the work items?
Yeah,
Which one was it? Rate
the
limit
rate
one?
limit one. The rate limit one.
Let's try.
So when we give people access to the free thing, are we going to rate limit them at all? Or are we going to assume they're on like the third tier, or which are we going to just give them unlimited?
No, I think we're planning to give them access to the Teams subscription for free. The reason is obviously it's easy, or it's easy to increase what we give them for free, but it's going to be very hard to decrease it. So the idea is to be conservative to start with, and then
So that gives them 100 credits per month. Okay, cool.
exactly. Because if they did get unlimited, and then after 3 months they need to actually downgrade, even if they pay for enterprise, that's going to be a bad experience. So we want to go only up rather than down.
Okay.
What needs to improve? So Caleb and Callum had the same sort of idea where we should be more accurate or more conservative with estimates for PBIs. And we should also mention in daily scrums or in talk to the PO if we're missing where we're missing chunks of work, like discussions, because a lot of the time we have the implementation PBI, but not necessarily always the discussion part as well. Yep. So any comments on the retro?
Yeah, I guess it was good to see a couple of things that I flagged when you showed me the earlier things. You guys had already flagged yourselves, which gives me confidence. I like that.
Nice.
You're thinking about things the same way I am.
Adam, anything from you?
Happy.
Yep. Cool. Let's
Yeah,
go to the
looks great.
planning. So sprint 60, our sprint goal is the same as last week's to get Stripe integration ready for the wait list.
But can I just flag that, because we've just said that that's going to take 2 weeks. So that's not a sprint goal that we know we can't do that, right? So shouldn't we?
Yeah,
So
I believe we did the
Right.
goal first, and then we realized because you do the goal
Yeah.
first and then you
Sure.
do the stuff. So we should have revisited the goal. And
Is there
said
a
when to
milestone
do it.
halfway there that we could aim for instead?
I'm guessing.
Maybe getting the Teams app approved or something?
I think that one
Well,
is
I
based on
think we
Microsoft
should have all
decision.
the Stripe stuff set up this week, right? Based on the PBIs we've pulled in.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So
let's go for that. So just delete
Yep. So just
to
Stripe.
get wait lists on board. Just say Stripe integration done.
Nice.
Yep.
It's like
Agree.
Stripe integration MVP, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Okay,
we have
okay.
a few that were in review. So this is the actually it's better we go to this one. It looks a bit nicer. So we have the document that's been sent off for Microsoft to approve. We have the Figma that Rick just approved, and we're gonna get Callum to have a look at it as well, so he can have a look and see if he has any comments about it. A few in progress ones that are Stripe and website.
Sorry, number 3 there, that's in
Based.
review, but it's still a 4. Are you expecting a bit of feedback for that one?
So, had you gonna comment on this one?
Yeah, that's halfway cooked. Just trying to finish that one.
So is it in progress or in review?
Well, there were 2 tickets, so there's a pull request for that one to be reviewed, but that branch hasn't been merged yet because we use that branch as our future branch. So after everything is ready by me and Steven on that branch, then we would push it in. So maybe, yeah, we can change it to in progress, I guess. That's better.
Sure. Yep. So these 3 are the Stripe PBIs from last week, and there's a few website ones to implement as well.
Is
And,
number 5
most
Stripe related?
Yes, I
Do
can
you
put
want to
the-
give a
Well,
Stripe prefix as well?
Is that Stripe related? Not directly, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's not directly
That's
related
basically
to Stripe.
based on what subscription you have purchased. We need to limit inside YakShaver how many
Okay, that's a
yaks
separate
you can shave.
Cool. All
So
right,
it could be
Okay.
from Stripe or it could be from any other payment provider, I guess.
understood.
That's
Oh wow! Hang on, the upgrade for the website to Tailwind version 4 is another 2 days. I didn't realize it was such a big job.
Yeah, I'm not sure who initially estimated that, but because it uses a different config file, I've got to migrate all the existing classes we had.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that's going to be an overestimate, and I'll just get it done in one.
Sure. Okay. Playing it safe. Cool. Next one.
we have yep, so this one is we don't have an error message that we have a generic error message, but that will also appear if someone just installs the app and just wants to know something, just like how do I use YakShaver, or they type help and then an error will appear. So this is to give them a link to the wizard to get them to sign up, so they get through the whole process of being able to use
Right. So
YakShaver.
if they accidentally get the Teams app without actually having YakShaver installed, they
Correct.
have a path to get it installed. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. We have a end-to-end testing for Stripe because there's a lot of things to test to make sure when things are involved with money. Some portal changes, like having the app download link at the end of the wizard, because right now, if you go through the wizard, you need to kind of know that there's also a Teams app that you can download.
All right. Yeah. No, it should be part of the process. Okay.
And also there was a sync button for users. We want to remove that for now for the MVP and just add like a message that the user will be synced or users will be synced.
Okay.
And this is to add a promo code so that they can go through the whole buying process, so they get added to our Stripe like user customer
And
table.
we'll just email them the promo code, basically saying, okay, we're ready.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Or step it through with them and say, type in promo code, I don't know, YAK100 or something.
Yeah. Sure.
And then the last one is for the developers, on the developer side, to document setting up video host configuration. So there's no front end, there's no way for a customer to change their projects to use YouTube, their own personal YouTube, for example. There's no way to do that at the moment. But this doc will allow us to set it up manually for them, where we can say, just give us like what channel or like what project you want it to be on, and we'll send you the link. You log in with YouTube and it gets connected.
Okay, so that's slightly confusing for me because I did see a PBI for just basically doing the last bit of the UI to allow people to do that for themselves. Doesn't it feel strange to do a bunch of work around how to do it in an alternative way rather than just letting the users do it themselves? Is that a much bigger job? I thought the backend was all done for it. We just needed to do whatever in the portal. Tell me if my understanding's wrong.
I thought this was to set it up for their own SharePoint, wasn't it? Can you open the PBI?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, SharePoint and YouTube.
So yeah, Tom was running this, so he would know better than me, but I'm pretty sure the issue was there was still a fair bit of work to do if we wanted to make it or wanted to allow them to set up SharePoint hosting as in on their own SharePoint. Like it was a lot more than a 2. So we decided we'll have it as an internal process when we onboard them, because we'll be manually onboarding the first sort of cohort. We will basically just ask them, where do you want your videos hosted? And then we will, make the config changes ourselves. And then once we, or I guess while we're still onboarding them, we'll be able to get on to actually allowing them to do it through the portal at some point.
Figure it themselves. So the default location at the moment is SharePoint, right? SharePoint and the videos are private or unlisted?
Our SharePoint, yeah.
Yeah, SSW SharePoint.
Oh, SSW SharePoint for a client
Yes.
tenant.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Exactly. So it seems pretty important to be able to configure it so clients can put it on their own SharePoint.
Yeah.
But
that
it
was
was just
my
we didn't want to,
misunderstanding. I thought it was their SharePoint.
we didn't want to add an extra week to deployment to do that. We're just make it so they can request it and we can do it, and then hopefully after the first handful, it'll be.
I got it now. That was my
do it.
gap. I thought it was already client SharePoint, so I didn't think this was necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
All good.
On this topic, Rick, do you still have a task to move a whole bunch of OneDrive to YouTube, the default folders?
For SSW projects, I think that means.
If SSW, because we were on YouTube, and then we switched to OneDrive, and then we switched to be configurable, but we're still stuck on OneDrive for most folders.
Yeah, I think I still need to configure some of them move to YouTube, but
Do you have a task for this?
I think so. Yes, I do.
I think Rick and I sent an email to you, Adam, asked about which projects you want to config to YouTube. Yeah. So
all right. So if that's the case, if I ask you to move it all, and then you have a question and you send it back to me, then you've got to have a call as well.
sure.
Because obviously I've missed that email.
Yep.
Right. Any other questions, comments?
One comment, I guess, we've got Caleb helping out with some portal stuff. You may have noted. So previously he was only doing website stuff, but we sort of realized he could help out with some of this portal stuff to help us get it across the line sooner. So that is cool.
So that's fine by me. Adam, is that okay with you? Because I know you did originally second him to this team on the understanding that he was only working on the website.
Yeah, I think I would prefer, to get to the point where we say everything on the website is done.
But I think that's where we're getting to, at least. I mean, it seems like we should be focused on the getting the MVP live first, and then the website stuff that's less urgent. Otherwise, we've got Caleb doing less urgent website stuff while the rest of the team is crunching to get the MVP done as soon as possible. So if Caleb can assist with MVP tasks, that seems like a better use of his time for now.
Yeah, the problem is that he will then get there'll be a whole lot of knowledge that he will gain, and if he's not going to stay on the team that long, can we pick an area?
It's just the portal.
Yeah, so
the portal.
He's the website.
We've given him portal stuff because portal stuff is fairly similar to the website stuff. At least it's it's Next.js or React or whatever.
Okay.
So
you're all right. Okay. By the way, is that a good decision to make that portal Next.js?
I guess.
Okay.
What would be your preference?
I think it could have been Angular as well, but I don't think there's a big difference between the two.
No, I was more thinking just plain React or Blazor. I wasn't thinking Angular.
Right. But Next.js is one of the official starters for React in the docs, so it's kind of interchangeable.
What do the SSW rules say? I assume we looked at that first.
The rule says Next.js.
Well, we're just following the rules then.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Good answer.
Cool.
Nice one. Great. This is good, guys. It's exciting.
Yep.
So 2 weeks.
So that's it
And
for the video.
we have, by the way, tried to be a little more conservative with these estimates, right? So I think we underestimated last week, but this week we've tried to be more conservative, and hopefully we'll get through all of this by the end of the week, but we'll see how we get. Sorry, Lewis, I interrupted you when you were about to tell us where to find this video. Carry on.
Of course. Yeah, of course, you can find this video.
For NDC, Lewis, sorry, one more interruption. All I'll be doing is asking all the attendees to join the waitlist, because there's no Teams app to join or anything like that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good to go?
Yep.
Cool. Again, you'll find this video on the YakShaver YouTube channel. And if you enjoyed it, please go to the YakShaver website and join the waitlist. You know, you'll be able to use YakShaver early. You can help us make sure it's perfect. And yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks, Lewis. Cheers.
Okay, bye.
See ya.